I'm Tracy Radley, Holistic Healer, Life Mentor, and welcome to another one of my divinely guided random videos where I've just got the push from within to talk and I'm just following it. So if you've seen some of my previous ones, you'll catch me being quite vulnerable. So I guess I've been sharing with you in the midst of some of my shifts where my emotions and baggage is leaving my system, so it's physically, mentally and emotionally, affecting me, and I'm showing them very raw. I'm showing you that, this is how I move through it, this is how I cope with these situations. And some of the videos have also been on the other end of that, and I've been quite aligned and empowered. So even going through the shifts and you see the vulnerable videos, it's still from a place of empowerment. It's just, the process of allowing what needs to shift come through my system. So I'm just showing how that's possible without going to extremes and being at a place of peace and acceptance. So I'm feeling like this video at the moment is going to talk a little bit about peace and acceptance with what is and what's happening. So, from life experience, there's always challenges. There's always going to be things that don't go our way or the ego's way, and it's the lesson is how to move through that, like with confidence and clarity, knowing these things will happen, knowing we don't always get our way, but how do we manage that? How do we get through that wave and get into that state of acceptance and peace with whatever it is that's happening? So for me, for many years, I would go in extremes with emotions or completely denying them. Where I would, create health issues by not sharing and bottling things up, because I felt I wasn't being heard, I wasn't going to be understood, or I'd be the other end and I'd be extremely emotional, to the point of being the huge victim and drama queen. And again, it really didn't get me very far. I would get exhausted and stressed and worked up, because I had all this stuff playing up and out of my system, like that I was just talking it was everything I was thinking about, and I just went to the extreme in that way. And like I said, or I'd go the other way, that no one understood me, nobody could hear me, nobody wanted to hear me, and I would bottle it up to the point that I would create illness within myself. So obviously at a younger age I didn't realize this. The awareness came when I was older, and it's it's something you work on a daily basis to catch yourself when those situations come up. So we all have triggers, we all have buttons, we all have current life situations that consciously we're aware of, that trigger us to react in particular ways, whether it's triggering our thoughts to go particular ways, or the actions we take, the behaviors that we do, or the words that we say. Like we can just be on autopilot and follow these things without really thinking about it. And it's being able to catch yourself when you're in the process of going through a shift, going through something coming up that's a trigger. So when I say a shift, it's like if there's a trigger there, something that sets you off, that takes you from a space of balance and clarity, that gives you the opportunity to create a shift. But it's your choice which way you want to go with it. So you can choose to go from the empowered space of being aware that there is a trigger there, stopping, breathing, looking at it within yourself, looking at it before you take a step, before you make that next thought, before you take that action, before you say those next words, and choosing wisely what you want to do. What is the course of action to take? What are the right words for you from an empowered space? So if you're choosing, or if you're not choosing, you're just allowing autopilot, it's following the old patterns, it's following the old belief systems that you have, and for the most part they are disempowering. They're outdated, and they need to change to allow you to grow and transform and become all you came here to be. So part of being consciously aware, or living consciously, as people say, is being able to see the bigger picture, in a daily life, being able to catch yourself from the autopilot response reactions, to consciously choose a response that's more appropriate for you now, with your your new awareness, your new perspective. So like for me, this has been years of practice, and it's personal mastery. It's something you have to be on top of every day. And it's not that it's work, it's just soon becomes like a routine and a habit when you know when things are flowing, things are nice, you have the nice sensations, the nice feelings, and then when you kind of gone out of that space, there's a trigger, there's something happening, and that's when you kind of go, okay, well, something's going on here. That's your point to go, okay, awareness, stop, what is this? It's not that you have to know all the details, but if you feel that you're going into an emotional space that's maybe not so beneficial for you, or whatever that may be, it's kind of going, okay, well, I recognize I'm going that path, I've been that path before, I know what that outcome is, and did I grow and learn from it? Maybe not. Okay, so how can I do it different this time? Okay, there's this emotion here. Okay, I can accept I have this emotion. There's something's triggered me, and okay, this is it. I'm having this feeling of anger. I'm having this feeling of resentment. Now my choice is, and you choose. You choose to act it out. You choose to deny it and you push it within, or you choose to acknowledge it and say, okay, I have resentment, I have anger, and that's fine. This is normal, this is in my system, but it wants to come out. So I'm not going to dramatize it and keep it there. I'm not going to deny it and keep it there. I'm going to let it just be acknowledged, be accepted, be loved for what it is. Anger, frustration, whatever that is, and just sit with it. Do what you need to do. Let it bubble and flow out of your system. That's not at other people, because it's never about other people. It's only ever about you. But it's doing things while you're experiencing that to help it be a smoother process. So I'll give you some of my own examples. So recently I've had some emotions pushed, which again came up about self-worth. And I was feeling vulnerable. I was feeling kind of, not pretty. Going into a space where I could, at some level, criticize myself. And it was kind of going, okay, Tracy, well, this isn't real. I could see it. I could see what was in front of me. I could see these things rising. It's like, okay, well, obviously I'm still holding on to memories somewhere in my system. There's still something that is saying you're not pretty enough, you're not good enough, you're not worthy. And it's sitting with that feeling of maybe pain, suffering, abandonment, these things that come with it, and just acknowledging that they're there. And it's like, okay, well, what do we do with this now? So there's been times and it's been tears. I've just literally cried. It's not that I've gone to speak to people about it. It's not that I've blocked the tears. I've literally just cried it out and let it come out. And then I'm sure you've experienced it, when you cry, and you finish, it can be exhausting, but then it's like this weight lifts, and there's like this clarity that comes through. So, this is a way that, it's possible to be able to move through the things that are coming up for you, and do it in a more calming way. So it's like, while I know these tears are coming, what can I also do to calm myself? What can I do to nurture myself? Okay, these tears are coming, and I'll just play some relaxing music or something in the background, something nurturing. Or maybe I'll burn myself some incense just to, to help calm, to have the smell around me. These things, like, they're simple. They're very simple. Sometimes it's just catching myself and going for a walk, going, okay, well, I'm feeling anger and I'm feeling frustration, and okay, that's fine. It's sitting there, but now I want to move from it. Like, I want to let it run its course, but I'm not going to let it control me. So I will go for a walk. Maybe I'll even put a movie on. Though I must admit, I pretty much only watch animated kids type movies because I find them quite uplifting, and they always have powerful messages. I can't handle like the violent stuff these days. I haven't for a long time. And I'm, you know, not somebody who watches the news or reads magazines and things like this. So, you know, for me, this is how I make the choices. Like before, maybe if I was having the emotional issues come up, I would be ringing my friends or then talking about it and talking about it and again talking about it and then again talking about it and keeping that cycle going. Like it wouldn't end because I'm putting energy into it. So, and in the times when I didn't share it, but I didn't allow it out, it would eat, and it would eat at my system internally. So it would be affecting my mind. Not that other people are aware of it, but I knew it. It's churning on the inside. And that's why people say, you know, you have a Pandora's box. And a lot of people are scared to open that. And I know that at first I was too, because it's like, oh crap, everything's here now and I have to look at all of it. But it's also really necessary to do, because it's part of your evolution. It's part of self-love and self-worth and value, even though it's painful. But it doesn't have to be. Like it can be painful going through the emotions. Sometimes there's physical pain involved, but when you start to become aware of the bigger picture, there's no way that you would really want to hold things inside, or there's no way you would want to over dramatize things, because you see that it's actually, you know, an act of self-denial of your true self. And, you know, we're here to co-create, we're here to evolve, we're here to expand in all these new ways. You know, everybody's at a different stage on their journey, but wherever that is, it's perfect for them. It really doesn't matter. So you never judge where somebody's at, because it's perfect for them until they're ready to move to the next stage. So, you know, there's a comment that I've had recently about, you know, spiritual people thinking they're above everyone else. And it's like, well, yeah, there are people out there that are still in their ego, spiritually based in their ego. And mainstream, as we call mainstream, you know, also coming from ego. But then there's a lot of people that aren't. It's just, it can be just other people's interpretation of it, it's other people's perceptions. And, you know, in essence, as long as you're in a space that you're true within yourself, it really doesn't matter, because you're going to see through people's ego when they're coming from ego. You're going to be able to learn how to know when people are coming from a space of love and truth and honesty and integrity. Like, it can be a process to go through to learn that, but, you know, it's definitely worth it. And once you start to be more authentic yourself, more loving towards yourself, you actually become aware of other people when they are coming from ego or love-based. You know, you it's like this radar just picks on and picks up, and it's not about for you to judge where they're at, but it helps you in making your conscious, aware decisions from that higher response, rather than the automatic reaction. So, you know, there's been times recently when I'm talking to people, or I'm sending messages and emails to people, and and I'm guided to say things. It's like it just literally comes out. And I know at times some people may think I'm being a lecturer, I'm being a teacher, or telling them off, but it's actually not, if you can read through it. And most people have responded saying, no, we know you're coming from a space of love. We know what's coming, and what you're writing, as much as it may trigger on some levels, we know it's heartfelt, it's pure, there's no ego attached to it. Like, and that's not to say that I'm perfect, because, well, I am perfect, we're all perfect, but, you know, I'm still working through my own stuff as well. But when I'm in my flow, like, everything is heart-based. And I know when I'm not coming from a heart-based space. That's when I don't, you know, I don't create the videos, I don't do these things, because I'm then working on my own stuff. Like, you know, I try to be as consistent as I can, to be able to share my message. And if you're listening to, you know, watch the videos on the Tuesdays, the light language, you know, these are all about purity and giving and love, because I know we're all connected. and whatever I'm able to offer, if it helps somebody else, but that it helps us all. So that's the space that I come from. But I do have my fears. I do have those things there as well that I still work through daily. It's just an easier process now than it used to be. It's actually a little bit more joyous and fun, and I laugh at myself a lot more when I go into those spaces where I go, oh, seriously? Come on, Tracy, you know that's not real. And then, you know, once I get that, it's like, okay, move on with it. And get on with your day, get on with these things, and, you know, do what you came here to do and create some absolutely awesome things. But that comes down to me learning to love myself. That's coming down to me learning to accept myself. Obviously, there's aspects, and at times, you know, there's deeper triggers that will keep coming up. We're like going through the onion layers, peel one off, another one will come, and peel another one off like this. You know, it's a continual process as we evolve. So it's not like we get to one particular point and then it's finished. It's just, okay, then we move to the next thing as it comes. But each time, if you grow in awareness, you actually, and acceptance, you actually get stronger to move through it. You get stronger within yourself, and you find the strength that you maybe didn't know that you had. It's like, well, if I got through this, I can get through the next thing, and then you can get through the next thing. And again, it's not about it's a bad thing. It's part of their evolution process. It's part of us transforming. It's so necessarily, you know, to be able to see all aspects of yourself, because it makes you more aware of others as well. It makes you more compassionate towards others when you see they are acting or speaking or, you know, doing things that you yourself once did and now you've moved through and you've got a new perspective from it. You know, that's when you can be there as a support for someone else. Again, why I do these videos is because, yes, initially I was scared to do it because I didn't want to be seen, and you will see those vulnerable videos where I'm saying, I'm scared to be seen, I don't want to be seen, I'm being pushed to do this, because I'm not feeling, how do I say, like I said, I was having issues with my appearance and how I looked, and that's related to a lot of past stuff, but it was part of me moving through is making these videos. So I actually do have a lot to share, and, you know, now I'm out of the bag, you know, you're going to get a lot more of them. So, but you'll get honest, raw and authentic from me. So I said hopefully it would be helpful. Again, I've been pushed to do this one, so I'm just talking randomly. I don't do things too structured these days, unless, you know, I'm guided to. I kind of just go with the flow. And in saying that, going with the flow is not something I was always able to do. So a lot of control issues, a lot of fears, anxieties. You know, I had my times of depression and going really down, where that came as a result of a lot of emotions, being too emotional. You know, I remember years ago I actually took myself to a psychologist, and did one of those tests that you do, and I was like, you know, for most things I was like in the normal range, except emotions, I was like off the scales. Like, I was so emotional because I felt so much that I didn't know how to handle, because being very sensitive and intuitive from childhood, I would take on so much of other people's stuff and integrate it with my own, and then I didn't know how to tell what was what, and my emotions were so strong. And like I said, I went to the psychologist because I'm like, something's not right here. And yeah, it actually showed my emotions were like way out of control. I was just too sensitive. So, you know, I've been working, that's something I've had to learn to change, to get new perspectives, to clear some of that deeper stuff out of myself so I could be in a more aligned state. Like I said, to be able to like choose my responses and my reactions, and when emotions do come up, do it from a more aware space and not go too far into it, and allowing it to control my life and, you know, affecting me physically, mentally, emotionally. So maybe you can relate to that, and if you do and you need some help, please like contact me, because obviously I've been there and I've been through it, and I'm definitely on the better end of it. So lots of tools there that I can share with you, and it might even be, you know, going in and doing some like clearing work energetically with the light language and stuff. But, you know, again, go with the flow. So, but if you feel aligned to me, then you can always send me a message, because like I said, my thing is, you know, we can only evolve one person and one being at a time, and we've got to make that choice to make that change. And if there's anything I can say or do or share that's going to help you on your path, because it may be somewhere that I've already been, I'm happy to do that, because I want us all to shine. Basically, we came here to shine, and you know, people are starting to become more aware and wanting to, just not sure how to. So plenty of tools in my tool bag, so like I said, feel free to contact me. Going back to being in this space of acceptance, which I think I said at the start of this video, is like accepting that, you know, things are not always going to go the way you want. Simple as that. Like, they're just not. It's not. What happens if you don't accept what things are as they are? You create pain and suffering for yourself primarily, but also those around you. If you're holding on to things, if you've got set expectations and they're not met, well, then you suffer. It's not to say don't aspire to, don't have aspirations, but it's saying have more flexibility on how things will turn up in your life. So for me, years ago, I had lots of goals, and I was a really good manifester, especially financially, just naturally, and didn't even know I was doing it. Later became aware. And then, you know, I went through a lot of my own inner journey. I've done a lot of healing, been through a lot of stuff, given up a lot of stuff, practiced many techniques to see what are my tools, which not necessarily your tools, obviously. But as a result of that, like, how do I say, I've got empowered to, how do I put it, to be authentic in myself, to know what's right, to manifest now or co-create things that are beyond what I'm logically able to create. So like I said before, I had like a bit more goal orientated stuff, whereas now I live my life by my feelings and knowingness and trust. That's all I go by. And when I'm not in that space, I do what I need to get myself back into that space. So that's the riding the wave, going in and out. But for me now, I know what's coming for me on the bigger picture. It's not that I know when it's going to happen or how it's going to happen, who's going to be part of it. It's just the knowing feeling. So it's being able to move past the expectations, as I was saying, about it has to be this particular way, because maybe there's something better for you. So the way I go with things now is like, I always get what I need. It's as simple as that. Whatever I need, I get. I'm always taken care of. Like, I just have to drop the expectation of how, when and why. Like, it's not been the easiest process. I've taken a lot of leaps of faith to get to this point. Faced a lot of fears and challenges along the way, more than I would even know how to describe. Like, people just think I'm traveling and it's an easy life, but I'm not actually traveling. I was told to go, not knowing where I was going or what I was doing or how long for or how anything was going to turn out. I haven't known consciously like the places that I'm going until I go there. I haven't known what I'm doing there until I get there. I just know that I have to go. Now that's not a holiday. That's not traveling. That's following my calling. That's like the magnet pulling me to where I need to be. And having to let go of why am I going there? What am I going to do there? You know, on some level, obviously I know, but consciously, most of the time I don't. I just have to turn up and see what happens, and allow myself to be in that flow of receiving. This is the next step. Okay, now this is the next step. Okay, now this is the next one. And it can be a challenging process, obviously, to get to that point. where you just literally trust. But I can say it's the most rewarding thing that I've ever done. It's been the scariest thing. But I'm wiser, stronger, clearer, more, I don't know, understanding, accepting, aware. I'm more authentic by taking this path that has only been unfolding. There's no end destination. I don't have an end destination. Literally, it's just unfolding as it unfolds. So to be able to logically say, yes, I've reached this goal, I can't say it, because all my goals are from within. It's the feeling of peace, it's the feeling of confidence, it's the feeling of clarity, it's the feeling of acceptance of whatever it is. If I get myself out of alignment, obviously I know there's a shift taking place, and I then wait until I get back into that state of clarity before the next step will present. So, you know, it's the waves, up and down, in and out. And this is, you know, something I've had to learn to accept as my path, because I'm creating it. Ultimately, I'm creating it. So as you're creating yours. And I guess now I'm being told to tell you to trust in your path. Accept how things are, but it doesn't mean that's the way they're always going to be. Accepting what is means that you're stopping the fight. You're stopping resisting of what is actually there. Because it's undeniable, whatever it is that's there, whatever it is you're experiencing or feeling, whatever environment you're in it. That's that. But the sooner you accept it, it means that you change your vibration, you change your perspective to be able to move forward then from it. So you're not continually keeping yourself stuck wherever it is you don't want to be. But embracing, okay, well, I am here. This is happening. So how do I choose now to respond, not react to it? Because if I'm choosing my responses and I'm doing it from an aware and empowered space, then I get a newer perspective. If I get a better perspective, a higher perspective, it will create a shift and something will change. Where I am now, if I'm not particularly liking it, is not permanent. It will shift. So once you can kind of embrace that and accept that, things move a lot quicker. Things can move a lot faster and a lot smoother for you. I'm speaking this from experience, obviously, because I can either be held somewhere for a long period of time, even if I, you know, consciously don't want to be there. I know that I have to be there. As in, like, where I'm staying now, or living off and on, is like a city area which has been, you know, not my first choice to be. And to look at my life from the outside, I could pick up and move anywhere. I have that freedom on one level, it appears. However, the appearance that people see externally is not actually my reality, because I know I'm here for a reason, and I've chosen to be here on another level, to learn and grow. I'm here to help people in this area. I'm here to help myself also, and you know, and then I know it's going to change, and I will be going somewhere else. I don't know where that is yet. So when people ask me, where do you go next, or when you're returning to Australia, or things like this, I'm like, I don't know. I'll know when I know. When I know, I'll tell you. Because that's the only answer I have. I don't have the definites until I have a definite. And, you know, because I've done a lot of work with kids over the years, like in places like India and Nepal, and especially in the monasteries, and they would be always like, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? When are you coming back? Or different people in the villages, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? And, you know, at the very start, I'm like, yeah, I'll be back next year around this time. And then, you know, things don't necessarily go that way. And then you realize people get disappointed. You know, you want to make them feel happy. You want to give them an answer. But then you can't necessarily stick to it. And the way my life has been, you know, I learnt that quite fast. It's like I don't make the promises. I don't make the commitments. If I've got the knowing feeling I will return, I can say I'll be back, but I don't know when. You know, I'll be back when I'm knocking on your door. I'll be back when I step into the monastery into the monastery temple or whatever it is. You know, I'll be back when you see me, because I don't want to set the expectation for other people either if it's something I can't commit to. So if I make a commitment in some form, it's because I know I have 100% confidence that I can stick with it. And if I don't, I won't say, even if I know people are really, really wanting it from me. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to set that up for myself, because that's an internal pressure that's not necessary for me, and it will also create stresses on your end if I don't fulfill what you would like me to fulfill. So again, maybe you can relate to these things and maybe learn from it. Like, if you're doing things just to make other people happy or fulfill something for them, but it's not aligned with you, don't do it, because in the long run it benefits nobody. You know, and I've had some really wonderful, experiences by literally just turning up when people haven't expected me, because they didn't know I was coming, and sometimes I don't know I'm coming until a couple of days before. And you know, it's such a nice experience to turn up and have this surprise and love and joy from people going, oh my god, she's here, kind of thing. And I'm like, surprise, I'm back, I didn't know I was coming till the other day either, great to see you, kind of thing. And you know, it's so lovely, it really is lovely. Like, obviously I've done it to my family a couple of times, just kind of turning up on the doorstep, ringing the doorbell instead of actually letting myself in, because I didn't know I was coming back into the country. And it's just an awesome feeling and experience. And you know, I've done it before, I'm like, yeah, well, maybe I'll be home for Christmas, yeah, I'll try to get home, and it's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to get there. And you know the disappointments on the other end. So I've also been on the receiving end when people have made commitments to me and have not fulfilled them, even when I'm very aware and I know that they're not going to do them. You know, I went through a stage where I go, oh, but maybe, and then I'd get hurt and disappointed going, well, really, actually, I knew they weren't going to do it anyway on the deeper level, but I let myself go there anyway. So obviously that's something I've moved through as well. So maybe you're at that point. So like I said, whether you're, you know, the person making commitments, but not being able to fulfill them, please reconsider. If you're on the other end and, you know, getting attached, that something or someone or something will be fulfilled, just allow for flexibility so you don't let yourself get disappointed in case it doesn't happen. So that's part of like allowing the flow, being flexible. Things shift, things change, everything's impermanent. Remembering, you know, everyone's on their own path and their own journey, and your role is to be empowered within your own. And you know, there's areas where you kind of have to, how do you say, learn to let go of your own self expectations. And maybe you're a people pleaser. Maybe you feel that you're obligated to people. You know, these are things that you have to identify in yourself, and change, choose to change. Again, that's becoming aware when you're doing it. If you're not coming from a pure space, don't do it. Again, it's mostly being programmed to do these things on a deeper level. So once you start to become aware, you can start making the changes, and finding your tools to help you make those changes. So some of it might be deep inner healing work. Some of it might just be a conscious shift in, okay, well, actually that doesn't serve me, so I'll change my mind perspective to this. So for example, if I'm looking in the mirror and I have my moments and I don't like what I see, especially when I wake up first thing in the morning, the hair's everywhere, or I've had not slept very well, and I go, oh my god, it's like, Tracy, it doesn't matter, it's just a physical body, it doesn't matter, that's not who you are, go brush your hair and you'll be fine. Like, it's very simple. It's like stopping the self-criticism, like doing what you need to do to change it. And You know, for many years I criticized myself on many levels, but in other ways I was also blessing and loving myself. And it's been different stages over the different year, like over different years in different environments, because you get triggered in so many different places. You know, by traveling as much as I have and living in mostly Asian countries these last 7 years, it's been, you know, quite pivotal to be pushed out of my comfort zone and forced to look at myself in different ways, and how other people see me and how I choose to take on their perception and view of me or not. Like living in the different societies and cultures, most of the time not knowing the language. You know, it's all part of a reflection back to myself, and accepting on some level, even if I haven't consciously chosen to go to a destination, but I know it's somewhere I need to be because I'm being guided there. You know, I can accept that, and whatever happens there, I learn to accept. Sometimes it's not always straight away, especially if it's, you know, quite intense, which it has been at times. But still accepting, you know, this is part of my journey. I am creating this and I see the benefit from it. Again, sometimes seeing the benefit doesn't happen in the moment. You kind of have to go through the experience, and then on the other end you go, oh, that's why, or oh, I've grown so much from that now. So whatever it is in life, everything's got its benefit when you choose to see it. So this video is kind of going in all random places, so I apologize, and apparently it's still going because I can feel it coming out. Okay, the next part they're saying to talk about is it is self-criticism, and not seeing the beauty and perfection in yourself exactly where you are at each point in time, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, how you're judging yourself, how you're allowing the influence externally to judge you. It's I'm getting told to tell you to remember to be warm and gentle towards yourself in every situation. Even if you've just had a dummy spit, you've just lost the plot, because that's where you are in that moment. Don't beat yourself up over it, because at that moment it was right for you. If later you decide it wasn't, it's okay, because you learned something from it and you bless yourself for it. You go, okay, well, that was the old programming. Wow, and I see that I did that, and wow, like, oh my god, what a drama queen I was. But now I can see it, and that's okay, because my lesson has now been, I've seen it. Now I know to catch myself if that comes up again. So before, if I did something like this, I would be down on myself. I would be so hard on myself, calling myself silently, sometimes out loud, all these different names to hold myself down, and being like nothing and nobody. Okay, this wasn't all the time, it's just moments, right? So I didn't live my life always like this, but you know, we have our moments when we're like this. I don't know that I've ever met anyone that hasn't at some point had that critical moment with themselves, but it's saying that you can move past that if you allow yourself to. So no matter what it is you're doing, maybe you have done something and, you know, it's caused distress on the other end. Well, accept it was part of the journey for that other person as well. But what have you learned and what can you move on from? It's not about criticizing yourself. It's about finding the love within to accept something in you made you do those things, but what is that thing? Because that's that essence, that core that then needs to change. You just have to identify it on some level. When these things come up, you know, we are perfect, we are whole, we are complete in one aspect, but there's always room for improvement. Like, we are where we are, and that's okay. Accept it. Know also that you're going to evolve and change, and accept it. Like, it's part of the evolution. We're going with the flow. The flow sometimes, you know, isn't so smooth because we put our own speed humps in the way, but those speed humps are to help us become aware of the things we're holding within ourselves, the patterns we need to change, the thoughts, you know, and behaviors that don't serve us anymore. This is where we get our evolution. This is why we have these things in life that are kind of feeling like ups and downs. And the goal, whatever, different spiritual practices or philosophies, is to find in general that middle ground. We're on earth, we're in this physical form, whether you're highly advanced spiritual, or you're just beginning, you're not into it at all, you're just wanting to grow yourself, personal development without the spiritual side. It's finding this balance, it's finding this middle ground, that we're going to have these highs, we're going to have the lows, but how do we maintain, like, mentally, physically, emotionally, on some level, the stability in between? This is where I was saying in this video, I think, and in previous ones, about when you're going through a shift and you're going through a change, you're feeling the pressure inside, or you're feeling the fears and anxieties. Accept that you've got it, accept that it's there. This is the middle path. If you deny it, then you're dropping it down. Then you're going to the other extreme if you're dramatizing and playing the victim with it. So this is the path that I found for myself personally. Yours may be different. That if I can accept it and know it's not going to be there forever, it's going to be impermanent and everything's changing, constantly changing, then it makes me stay more in this middle ground than going to the extreme up here or the extreme down here, because we know things are going to happen that ego is not going to like, we are not going to like, it's not going to fit in our timing, it's not going to fit or come the way we want it to, when we want it to. So when those things happen, that's where you can go up and down and up and down and up and down. So what I'm hoping you can get from this is to just accept those things are going to happen. That's part of life. That's how we're going to grow. But to develop yourself enough to be able to try and find your way more in here. You're obviously, we're all going to still go ups and downs. And when you go to the up, then you catch yourself and you bring yourself back into the middle ground if you can. Or if you've noticed you've dropped way, way down, allow yourself the space to be able to come back up. And it doesn't have to happen overnight. It's not going to happen straight away. But it can happen that you can find yourself more in this space when the things happen that would normally trigger you. Again, choosing the response and not automatically reacting. The automatic reactions are here or here. What you're wanting to do is choose the response which will help you to stay a little bit more here until you go here for a bit longer. And then again, something will come up and you can kind of go, I can choose to go here or here, or I can try and keep it a little bit more in this level. So this is part of growing your awareness and consciousness. Taking the actions which are more beneficial to you. When they're more beneficial to you and more aligned with you, you get stronger. When you get stronger, you influence those around you more positively. And it's not just your friends, family, work colleagues. We're all connected, so you're actually influencing the collective. And, that's kind of been a big part of my drive. Inner drive is like, this isn't just about me. Yes, I know this is my time to move on and release and, upgrade myself. But I know my role is also to help you. And your role, when you get to your next level, whatever your level is, will be to help somebody else who's in that situation that you've just come from. This is how we work. This is how we support each other. So there's no one person that's going to be better than anybody else, because you will find your teacher when you need it. It could be a friend, it could be a co-worker, it could be somebody you've just met on an aeroplane and they've helped you move through that level through a 2-minute conversation. It's just one line they've said and they've helped you. So this is how we're all doing it. So I'm no exception from anybody else. There's a lot of areas obviously I've had experiences in that I can help people with, like in every area of life, but you've also got yours that you can help to teach and uplift people with. We've all got it in us. We just have to allow ourselves to do it. And sometimes we don't even know we're doing it. So one thing I would like to ask is if there is somebody that's been of benefit to you, that's helped you grow in some way, express your gratitude. Maybe, it might have been 10 years ago, but send them a card, send a message and an email, or even just energetically to say, look, I really appreciate you were part of this journey with me. I did something a few years ago, and I kind of do it every now and then, and I'll just get this thing in my heart, and I'll just put it out to everyone how grateful I am to them for whatever role they've had physically within my journey, whether they're still in my life, whether they've left my life, whether they're coming in, whether I've never even met them, because I recognize everyone's part of me and my experience, whether I am consciously aware of it or not, but I know we're all connected. So I'd like to kind of express that gratitude. And, you know, if I've done it in writing, and I have on Facebook a few times, you know, it's nice for people to receive that as well, because that inspires them and lifts them and puts their heart in a better space. So, you know, it might be something that person is needing at that point when they've read it. So if you get inspiration to do something like that, like send a card, or because people don't get cards so often anymore, but, you know, send a card, do something just to let people know that, you know, you've helped them or they've helped you in some way. And also in that, recognize within yourself where you know you've helped other people, and, you know, be thankful that you've been able to, because it's such a wonderful thing to be able to do. And, you know I've personally been able to help a lot of people on their journeys, but there's also been just as many that have helped me in their different ways as well. Like, not all mine have been what you would class like spiritual teachers. It's everybody. Like, everyone I've met has had some impact on my life, and I'm grateful for all of them. You know, the really painful, horrible experiences that I've needed to have, and the really fun, you know, enlightening ones. I'm just as grateful for those. Like, I don't distinguish between the two anymore, because I realize the importance of all of them. So, you know, express your gratitude and give what you're able to give. But first and foremost, give to yourself. Because honestly, you can't give to others until you're fully yourself. Like I said earlier, you know, most of the time I'm full of light and love, and it's just flowing out of me. Like, I have no control over it, and I don't want to. I just want it. But then there's parts which like, there's times when I'm needing to close down myself a little bit, and I can't give as much because I don't have it in me while maybe I'm going through a shift. So I've accepted that. But I know once the shift is over, I've got even more to give out. And so you will be exactly the same, you just may not be aware of it. So when you give from a place of fullness within yourself, give from a place from love. Don't give from expectations or obligations or feeling pressured, because it sends the wrong vibration out anyway, and it's not beneficial to those on the other end. So in saying that, I also want to right now acknowledge you, if you're watching this, that you're also part of my journey. Like, being able to just talk freely, randomly, yet not randomly on some level. You know, I can see myself reflecting back in this video, and that was like, that's a big thing for me, like, as part of my growth. So, you know, I'm grateful that you're on the other end viewing this, regardless of what you take from it. I'm just hoping there's something that you do. Because as much as I can be, I'm raw and authentic, and I'm me, and, like, I'm not fussed with what you may think, because I know for myself I'm coming from a place of honesty and truth, and that's all that matters to me, because I know while I'm in that space, that's what I'm radiating. And, you know, I honestly wish this for everybody else, that they can feel and experience life the way that I do. And I know, you know, even with, you know, some of the challenges that I know that were still to come for me, I know how much stronger I'm going to get from being on the other side of them. So in a way, you know, I can embrace when they happen, again, because I have accepted they're not permanent, and there's huge blessings to come from them because I'm choosing to see them. So I can suggest that to you. Choose to find the blessings, choose to accept what it is, and allow things to flow forward. Once you accept, once you acknowledge, once you realize things aren't permanent, whether they're the happy or the sad moments, whatever that is, they're not permanent. And it helps you to ride that wave, going, okay, we're going to go up, and we're going to go down, and we're going to go smooth, we're going to go left, we're going to go right, maybe we're going to go around the hill, through the hill, over the hill. But it really doesn't matter, because within myself, I'm okay. I'm worthy. This is my journey. I know I can cope with whatever comes. I am a creator. I'm here to create. I'm here to have fun. I'm here to be abundant. I'm here to love. And if I'm not feeling all those things at the moment, it's okay, because I know it's possible for me. I know it's out there, and when the time's right, I'll be able to get to that point. So with closing off, I want to tell you all how wonderful you are, how beautiful you are from the inside out, and send you a lot of love and support. If you do have something you want to say, if you've got any feedback or comments, I appreciate that you pop them below. I'll respect whatever they are, because it's your perspective. And if there's actually something in particular you would like me to address, not so much my all over the place, here's what I'm being guided to say at this present moment, but if there's, you know, specific topics, I am happy to share them with you from my own experience, and I'll be raw and honest with you about it. It doesn't faze me. I am who I am, I've been who I've been, and I'll become who I'll become, and that's it. The rest doesn't matter. So again, sending you love and encouragement wherever you're at, whenever you're watching this. You are perfectly lovable, you are fine, you are exactly where you need to be. And if you're feeling the push to make a step to change, then just honor yourself and do it. You know, maybe you have to suck it up, maybe you have to face your fears, but honestly, it's so worth it. There's no way I could ever go back to how I was before. You know, at times, even though I've wanted to, you know, there's no way I could do it, and I really don't want to. It's only in those moments, those few moments, where the ego is going, oh, it's so much easier when I was like blinded to all this and not aware. But really, you know, there's nothing I would change. Whether it's been sleeping in the hut, sleeping on a beach, sleeping in my car, you know, money flowing in, not having any, not knowing when it's coming, you know, it's all been an amazing experience, because I'm still here. I'm still here to tell the story, and I've got a hell of a lot of stories I can share because of it. Like, my life is definitely out of the box, and it's absolutely really fantastic when I allow myself to see it. And now that I'm able to share it more, because I do have access to internet and that more, I'm happy to do that. So like I said, comment below, share it if you feel to. You can subscribe to my channel, because every Tuesday I do the light language transmissions, which are the codes which will help you in your growth process. They're only usually around 5 to 10 minutes, so you can watch those, and they'll come out every Tuesday for you as a way for me to give back to you, because you're always giving to me. So again, now I will actually say goodbye. Wish you a wonderful journey, and reach out if you need to.